It's October, the month where people dress up in fancy costumes, go to their neighbours and raid their cupboards for sweets. October is also the month where you would watch really shitty horror films. Face it, we've all been there. However, on October the 25th, 1978, an actually good horror film came out, which was not only successful, but it would also become a multi-million-dollar franchise. I am of course talking about Halloween. Before any words or anything comes on screen, the music, which was composed by John Carpenter, starts to play. The main theme is one of the most iconic themes in cinema. It was remixed and recomposed in the sequels, most notably in Halloween 2 and the 2018 Halloween film. The music itself is really eerie and fast-paced. It sounds like a ticking clock, indicating that time may be running out, making death inevitable. This should make the audience feel tense, but excited in a way. The constant piano keys further demonstrate its fast pace. The music sounds like it's being played on minor keys. Music that's played this way sounds harsher and more jarring. This goes back to the idea that the audience is now gripped and excited to see what's to come. When the Compass International logo comes on screen, you'll notice that it's glowing orange. Orange is obviously a very prominent colour of Halloween, so it makes sense. However, one thing that you may miss when watching it is that it then fades to red. Red is a colour usually used to mean blood and death. It's foreshadowing future events in the film. This is seen for the whole of the title sequence to further demonstrate this idea. We then see a pumpkin, or a jack-o'-lantern if you will. Pumpkins are, again, very symbolic around Halloween, so it makes perfect sense why this opening would have one. These days you would have pumpkins outside of your house, maybe on your porch or something, so that people can trick-or-treat at your door, but originally they were used to scare away demons during Halloween night. In this case, the pumpkin is being used in both ways. Carving pumpkins is a very fun thing to do, but the carving here looks rushed. This is easier to see when the pumpkin is closer up. This makes me believe that a child or an inexperienced person carved this pumpkin. There's a random line between the nose and the mouth, and the eyes aren't perfectly circular, especially this one. The mouth is also asymmetrical and it looks slanted. This is again foreshadowing. The candle inside the pumpkin is flickering constantly. This is due to bad ventilation. Seeing pumpkins in this state is very common when trick-or-treating, so to some people this would just be a normal sight and probably not pay attention to it. Interestingly, I thought that the pumpkin was zooming in towards us, but apparently we're the ones tracking towards it. Excluding Mustafa Akkad, the first name to come up is Donald Pleasence. He was in a shit ton of films before Halloween. Even though most of the movies he was in before were very small and probably mostly forgettable, lots of people would be familiar and comfortable with him, even if his role was small. He was in The Great Escape from 1963 and THX 1138 from 1971. When the name of the film comes up, John Carpenter's name appears as well. He wanted people to know that Halloween was his movie. If the audience were to leave and remember one name, it would most likely be John Carpenter. I don't know if this means anything, but when Jamie Lee Curtis's name comes on screen, the word introducing hasn't got a capital letter. The same thing can be seen when PJ Souls is introduced. Perhaps it's trying to make them look like innocent and young characters. As I said, while the credits are rolling, we are tracking towards the pumpkin. Some people, like myself, missed this the first time. The eye and the nose look like a head with a knife. This is again further demonstrating foreshadowing. A similar Easter egg is on some of the posters. If you look closely, you can see a screaming face. John Carpenter must have really liked to throw in little secrets here and there that a regular consumer might not notice. Even though this is sort of hidden, the opening titles actually want you to spot it. There's only two things that a person can look at in this opening: the pumpkin or the glowing text, with the screen being split in half. However, as it progresses, the pumpkin invades the space on the right, so that it can show the secret. The light inside the pumpkin is then extinguished. This was done for two reasons. John Carpenter, like I said earlier, wanted people to know that this was his movie, so by blowing out the candle, it draws everyone's attention to his name. The second reason is, altogether now, foreshadowing. People are going to die in this film. Because the secret shows the killer, it may also mean that the killer is killed or that he escapes during it. The open-mindedness of this title sequence leaves the audience with several questions, persuading them to continue watching. The music at this stage has also built up increasingly. Its peak is when John Carpenter's directing credit appears, further demonstrating that this is his flick, and that he has complete control over it. The music then cools down as we go into the first scene in the film, and that's the opening to Halloween. The final thing I want to point out is that we move towards the pumpkin crookedly. In the real world, a killer's job is never straightforward. There will be times where a killer finds it difficult to kill his target, and as such they will not go kill someone in a straight line. If the pumpkin didn't have that specific carving, it would basically be meaningless. The same can be said for the music. It wouldn't provoke any scariness. If anything, it would bore the audience. So all of these elements are combined into one to make a chilling yet powerful opening, which works tremendously well. Clearly, I love this opening, and the film generically, and I personally think that there was no other better way of beginning this film. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and have a happy Halloween. Goodbye.